All right, now we're live. Cool. All right. So, how's it going, everybody? Today, for my live, we're going to be interviewing my client, Charles. Charles is pretty much just like a total freaking badass. I'm just going to start with that, lead with that, because, like, honestly, like, since you joined the program and since you started working with me, like, you have just been like honestly, just like an incredible like cheerleader, I guess, in terms of not only for like yourself, but like also just like everybody in the group. Like if you go into the private Facebook group that we've got like for the program, like you could probably ask anybody, like everybody knows who you are just because like you're everywhere and you're always just like such a supportive person like in the group and in the community, and it's really awesome. So yeah, I guess we could just kind of jump into things. So let's, I guess, give the audience a bit of a backstory on who you are. Like, how old are you? Like, what do you do for work? Where are you from? Like, let's start there.
Yeah, so I just turned 35 back in November. And that, honestly, like, that was part of the whole motivation of like, it's time to change. I'm in my mid-30s. Everything sucks and hurts. So I'm in my mid-30s now. I work as a software developer, and pre-COVID, software developing was not as bad. Standing desks at the office, get up and walk around. And then back in February, my whole office shut down. So I'm at my house on like a crappy chair tucked in a corner somewhere, and just noticed like all year long my body keeps hurting more and more. I'm over in Spokane. My company I work for is called Remitly. They're based out of Seattle. We do like international remittance, so like Western Union in an app. And I love my company. They're absolutely fantastic. I love the work I get to do, but it definitely wasn't conducive for like health, my well-being, or any of that lately. So
yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, for a lot of people, like they're having to like work remotely or work from home, and that just adds like a whole other like bag of like just like factors that kind of go into trying to pursue a fitness journey. And a lot of them are like they're gaining weight, or they're just like at home not doing a whole lot, and like it's hard whenever you take that part of like kind of like your life away and you're like at home now, and it's like what's the difference between like when like it's hard, like the lines get blurred basically, just like between like at home life, work life, like everything, it's all at home now. And so
for a lot of us too, like those demons like live at home with us, and like when you get to go into the office, you get that break, you get to walk away, like some of those stressors aren't there anymore. But you spend all day at home, and for stay-at-home parents or work-at-home parents, like that kid's candy drawer is always there. You walk by it, that chocolate bar is gonna make you feel good, and that like for sure this past year, like that's where my life had gotten to. Just like I'm sad, I'm alone, I don't see people anymore, but man, that Snickers looks real nice.
Yeah, no, for sure, dude. And like I like honestly like everything that you just said, like it's giving me like flashbacks to when I was a stay-at-home dad, and it's just like it's like, dude, like where is like the time to get away from your work now, your job? Because like your job is like if you're a stay-at-home parent, like you're living at your work. There's never that time to get away from it, to like kind of disconnect from it. And that can, for me anyways, it was just almost just like it was, causing a lot of stress in my life, like for my mental health, and like for me dealing with like like almost like not resentment, but almost resentment. Basically, it was just like, it's like, oh, like I need to get out of here. And so I feel like a lot of parents are kind of experiencing that right now, especially with like e-learning. Jessica just commented, says, F that Snickers. I totally hear that though. I'm going to pop that up on the screen, but yeah. So, anyways, cool. So before you and I worked together, like, what were you kind of like struggling with the most, like in terms of like what your biggest struggle was for your fitness journey personally?
I think I've fallen into the category that a lot of people I've known have fallen into, which is I understand the generic concept, less calories.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
But that's as far as my understanding went. Like I didn't have parents who taught me nutrition. Like my folks, bless them, I love them, but they never helped with any of that. And so I've always sort of fluctuated. And when I was younger, it was easy to just say, okay, like I'm a little bit overweight. We'll just like super restriction starvation diet for a couple months and drop all the weight off. And and then like as I've gotten older, like that yo-yo still kind of happens sometimes. But basically like 5 years ago now, after we had my wife and I had our first kid, like I put on some dad weight during that pregnancy, and it just never really came off. And I would keep trying. And sometimes I'd have like a little bit of success, but the only thing I knew how to do was like starvation diets. So like, super low calorie diets, all the fad diets out there, tried like meal in a box systems. But like the doubting point always came back to me. Like there would be this moment where it's like, well, I failed this week, or there's a birthday party and I don't want to bring my disgusting canned meal in a box to the birthday party that's at a restaurant and I don't know how to eat. So like the moment that fails, or the moment like it's been 2 weeks and this numbers on the scale didn't change, like I would give up on myself because I didn't believe I could do it. I didn't believe I knew how to do it, which is like, as we'll get into, like a huge part of why I love working with you, because I don't have to believe in myself. Like I have to believe in my effort, but I don't have to believe in my knowledge. I don't have to believe that I know the right foods to eat. I just have to say, I trust Austin. He's got proven results. When he tells me to do it, I'm just going to do it, and it works. Yeah,
for sure. No, and it's one of those things that's like trusting the process is a hard thing for a lot of people at the beginning, especially because, like everybody's got like a preconceived idea of what they need to do based on all the like shit that they've experienced in life or what they've been exposed to before, working with me, like whether that be they got burned by a bad coach in the past, or they got burned by a fad diet, or they've, tried keto, or they've tried all these other like things that just weren't for them necessarily, or, just weren't conducive to their goals in the first place. And then, coming into something like this, it's just like, it's hard to like, it's like, oh, like what? Like I got to eat like as much food as possible, but still like while still losing weight sustainably. Like I don't want to eat a lot of food. Like food's going to make me fat. Or
that blew my mind. Like starting out working with you and you were like, okay, here are your calorie goals. And then even seeing, I mean, again, it comes back to like my misunderstanding of calories and food, that like you set me a rather large calorie goal and like, I'm going to gain like 6 pounds this week. And then I lose a pound and I'm like, oh, that means I used to eat a lot. Like that's an eye-opening moment when you're like, shit, I ate 3,000 calories a day this week and I still lost weight. Like I must have been eating a lot before.
Yeah. And a lot of times too, for people, it's not necessarily and some days you might not have even been eating a lot of food like per day, but it might have been just in those like times where you did have a lot, or it might have, a lot of times people will, follow a diet or whatever for a week, but then when the weekend comes around, they'll hang out, they'll be hanging out, or they'll go out, or they'll be at home, like eating or having a handful of stuff here and there. And that adds up, like that does. And then like your average for the week is like way higher than what you intended it to be, kind of thing. And a lot of people too, they just don't realize, how many calories are in certain things that you can kind of binge on here and there. And it's just like, that's one of the things, like pulling the curtain back on like what's, in certain foods. And like, you don't have to be starving either though, whenever you're losing weight, as long as you're choosing, calorically like light foods, or like, foods that make you feel full. That's a big misunderstanding that a lot of people feel like going into a nutrition plan or a diet plan is like, I'm going to be starving all the time. I'm going to be miserable. And that's, for you anyways, like that's definitely not the case. Like you've been pretty there's been a couple times where you're like, can you lower my calories a little?
I'm like, I'm eating too much. My stomach's full. Like that whole calorie concept thing though, like that there was this moment like early on when we were working together, probably within the first week or two, where like my wife wanted to get involved and make me food. So like we talked about like, okay, like I would love like a tuna melt. So she makes me this massive tuna melt, tells me all the stuff that's in it. It's like the size of my freaking head.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here thinking like she's counted it up while she's doing it. I'm guessing, I'm like, oh, like that's my food today. Like I'm done after this.
Yeah.
And we calculate it up, blah, 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 look at it. And so it's like 550, 600 calories, whatever. And I'm just like, I'm blown away. And then she looks at me and she goes, okay, now, do you know how many calories is in a Costco muffin? Because I used to be a dad who would buy my kids chocolate Costco muffins.
Yeah.
And I was like, no. And I go look it up and it's like 689, 700 calories. I'm like, well, I used to just like pop one of those while, getting the kids ready for school in the morning. And you're telling me I can eat this food that's the size of my face and eat less calories than a muffin. And like that whole disconnect has been so big for me. And like, we're now about 2 months into working together. And like my understanding of food has gotten to a point where I can start looking at things and going, oh, I know I can eat that because this has about that much in it. And I've got that room left. Like I don't have to look up what's in a food before I decide if I can eat the food.
Yep, absolutely. And having that, and like eventually, like for a lot of people, like for me personally, like you almost get to a point where you can almost eat intuitively, depending on how, like, once you get further into it and once you kind of get to a level where you're at and you're working on like building muscle and things like that, like that's for a lot of people, like that's kind of like the ultimate goal is like, like having an idea, you've done it enough, and people are creatures of habit. Like we eat a lot of the same things. Like you end up getting a good idea of what you can have in a day and what you can't eventually. And so, but yeah, no. And so like, regarding like, that whole, period of time where you were working from home and you had, gained some of this weight after you had, your kid and everything, like your first kid and everything like that. Like how is that like negatively like impacting you?
So this, the fitness portion of my life and journey has been like a bit of like the final piece that I've tried to put into things. So I'm pretty open about the fact that I've had long-term battles with depression. I'm a big advocate of mental health. And so that's been a piece I've been working on for, God, I don't know. I mean, my whole life, but like revamped into really just diving into focusing on that for probably a good solid 4 years now.
Yeah.
And that piece got better. And as I've become happier with who I am and been able to define better who I want to be as a person, as a father, as a husband, I look at like what I'm physically capable of, and it's just not it. Like my kids are sitting here every night, like begging me to get down on the floor and play with them. And I'm going like, sorry guys, like I hurt, like my hips hurt, my back hurts, my knees hurt. Like, can we sit on the couch? Can we, sit at the table? Can we just cuddle for a while? And like realizing that my health was causing me to become a dad that was going to make my kids sit on the couch and watch TV and not be active. And I don't want to be that. Like I didn't want to be that. And the fact that I was becoming that was making my whole mental health process even worse. And that was the biggest thing where it was just like, I looked at myself and was saying like, I'm not the person that I want to be. I'm not the person that I can be. I'm not a good husband because I'm tired all the time. I'm not doing my share of housework. Like, these changes are no matter what people say, like being overweight affects you. Like it affects the life you get to live. It affects the happiness you get to have. And I was definitely like at that bottom of I'm losing the ability to do the things that make me happy.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like that's super relatable for a lot of people out there, parents especially. And it's one of those things. It's kind of like, and I talked about this, I think a couple weeks ago. It was like a choose your hard kind of like, concept. It's like, yes, working out is hard. Like yes, like, eating the right things and keeping track of these things and being mindful that is work. This is work, a fitness journey, a nutrition journey, those things are work, and those are hard. But you know what else is hard? And you know what else is like a lot of work? Being in that like state and living that life of like, feeling like you're missing out on things, and also just like the physicalness of it. I've gotten up to like, almost 240 pounds in the past, and it's hard.
It's hard. Walking around is hard. Yeah.
Walking upstairs, like I'm out of breath. I'm like sweating all the time. Like it's just not fun. And that's hard. And so it's like, which hard do you want to choose? You want to choose the one that's going to let you live a long life, and that allows you to like do the things you want to do with your friends and family and kids, or, and so, I really
my little boy now, he's only 5 years old. He's already crested well over 50 pounds. And it's like, he's 5. So he still wants me to toss him around and wrestle and roughhouse and throw him on my shoulders. And like, I got to a point where I was like, buddy, I just can't do this anymore. Like we can't play horse ride. We can't play piggyback. Like, and that And as a dad, like that breaks my heart. Like that's what I want to be as a dad. So yeah, like all of that stuff. It's just being overweight, being out of shape is hard.
For sure.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it might seem easy to sit on the couch and lounge around, but at the end of the day, the mental stress that it puts on you, not worth it.
Yeah, no, for sure. So yeah. So I have a question I was going to ask, but this question might not actually have like so when you and I first met, like what was your initial hesitation to deciding to work with me? And the reason I laugh about that is because there was basically none.
so there was some. Don't you worry, because like to give other people context into how this went, Austin never like solicited me for his program. All he did, he just slid into my DMs, but just was like, hey, like I'm a fitness professional working with tech, tech entrepreneurs, people, professionals, parents in Spokane, yada yada. I just wanted to connect, network, cool. And like when that happened, I was even hesitant to like just accept your friend request. Yeah. Like I don't need Jim Bro explaining why my programmer dad bod is making me, sexually undesirable to women. Why I'm failure as a man, and what like this isn't what I need in my life. But I started watching, like you reached out to me, so I was like, cool. Ended up finding your like some of your posts on LinkedIn to like your videos on YouTube, and just started watching some of your videos on YouTube, and then seeing who you were as a person through your honesty, through your sharing of like your struggles as a stay-at-home parent, your struggles as a father. It became so obvious that like, oh, you're not Jim Bro. So
yeah,
yeah. You might have the tank top today, but like the attitude's not there. And then the other piece, to be totally honest, a lot of your marketing and a lot of your clientele and a lot of people you care about and do great work with are women, stay-at-home moms, female professionals. And so there was a little bit of like, after we even kind of started to talk about working together, agreed to work together, there was still this part of me that was like, am I going to fit in here? Is this going? And that, for anyone out there who's listening, like 100%, I can say like, if what you want is like Jim Bro, who's gonna male stereotype you like all the way down, alpha male, treat you like crap because you're not good enough, this is not gonna be for you. But what you're looking for is someone who knows their shit, who's gonna care about you, but kick your ass into gear when you're slacking off. Like, this is where it's at. Male, female, parent, non-parent, professional, whatever you are. Like, what I found being in this group is that Austin is absolutely willing to be there for any person, no matter where they're at in their life, so long as they're willing to put in the time.
Yep. Dude, I love that. Like that shit is like, that's some feel good stuff right there. Like that's it. Cause like what you said right there is like exactly like what I like, the community that I'm wanting to like foster, and like the overall, like, I guess, I don't know, like environment. That's really what I want to shoot for. Cause like, for me, like everybody deserves a spot, like when it comes to like fitness and health. Like everybody does. Like I try to like make sure that like the door is open for everybody, no matter what. And that's the thing too, is just like, stay-at-home moms, like, stay-at-home dads, like full-time parents who work. Like I work with everybody, and like, yes, I work with a lot of women, but like I just want to help everybody out. Like that's my ultimate goal. The more people I can help, like the better. And like having that community and having that environment is just so important too, because it's like an added layer of accountability. And it's a place where you can go and like share your wins and struggles, and like honestly, like I feel like with you being in the group, it's like somebody like lit a match, and like somebody poured gasoline on it and just like lit a match and threw it on it, because you're just like, you're about it, and I love it. And it's just like such a positive like community now. Like it, not that it wasn't before, but just like, I don't know, like you've definitely brought something to the table in terms of just like, making people feel, welcome and like, you know, like they can do this. And like, no matter what, like almost anytime, like there's a post in that group, it's just like I almost can't type fast enough to like, to like, and somehow you always have like a long like message, and it's like, how I'm on like the third one, and I'm like, what the heck? Well, you're
I mean, like, I'm not gonna lie, like social media, I'm not good at it. I didn't have Facebook before this started, but I have this fitness coach, and one of the things he stressed was that community is important, and being involved in the community is important. And I reached a point a week or two in where I was like, well, I'm sold out on the workouts, I'm sold out on the food, nutrition. I'm not quite selling out yet on that commitment, on willing to be vulnerable. I'm willing to like throw myself into this group and say, we're going to be a team. We're going to lose weight together. We're going to gain strength together. And like, just finally went for it. And yeah, it's like that group is a great place to be, because more and more of us, I think week after week, buy into, you know, that belief you've given us that says like, this group is going to be part of our journey. It's going to be there on the days when we struggle. We're going to get to see that I'm not the only one who did leg day and then looks at a flight of stairs and goes, maybe I don't need to go upstairs.
We're not going upstairs today. Yeah, no, for sure. No, I love that. So we've been working together for what? So like between 6 and 8 weeks now, about that point in time. Like, so what sort of like results have we been able to like accomplish so far together? Because we just hit a milestone, I know. I
mean, there's the like very tangible physical results. Like, I mean, surprise, check-in days tomorrow. So a little, pre-check here. So I think I'm somewhere in the neighborhood of like 13 pounds down in 8 weeks. Yeah. Hit another pound or so this week. Yeah. And then the other things that like boggle my mind, because it like, dude, Pam, you're amazing. I love you, Pam. The things that like boggle my mind is like my weight loss in the past has been don't eat food and run a lot. Like that's how I used to don't eat food, walk, run, bike, whatever. So yeah, I'm losing weight, but not only am I losing weight, but like my dumbbell curls have increased by 10 pounds per arm. My bench press is increased by, I think, like 20 or 30 pounds total. Like I'm doing lat pull downs with my bands and realizing like, oh crap, I'm going to have to buy new resistance bands soon. And my wife comments on the changes in my body.
There you go. Oh, yeah.
So that's been like just this strange thing to me that like, if I follow this plan and eat protein and put in workouts, I don't have to just lose weight and become this scrawny, tall, lanky person. Like I can also be strong. And then that I see in things like with my kids, where like my son used to like our dinner, you know, I'm sitting at my dining room table now, and it's one of those ones that's like over belly button height. And he'd want to like crawl over me, and I'd have to like pull him up and shove him to the other side. And now, honestly, like I literally just noticed the other day that he wanted to get past me, and I just like grab him, lift, move, down. Like we're like, oh, cool. So like those are all the bodily changes. There's also the fact that I eat better. And eating better has genuinely meant that my wife is eating more, like more healthy food, because she sees what I make and she's just like, hey, can I have some of that? Yeah. And my wife is actually like on the other side of life than me. Like she's more of what you would describe as like a hard gainer. She's always been skinny. Like the only time I've ever seen her put on weight is during pregnancy. And so getting her to eat enough during a day is difficult for her sometimes. And now she sees the stuff I cook, and every day she's just like, you're sharing that, right? Like,
give me a bite, please.
So like it's good for me. It's good for my kids. And then like, it's been a serious, amazing, benefit and improvement to my marriage, which is awesome.
For sure. No, dude. Yes. I love it. And like, and the other thing too, is just like it's like, look good, you feel good, your family is benefiting from it. Like it and I talk about this a lot. It's just like, once somebody starts doing that, as long as you have like, the support of your significant other during this thing, like it's going to benefit more than just you. Like it's going to benefit your spouse. It's going to benefit your kids. Like the stuff that we're working on right now, like, eventually, like you're going to be able to like pass that knowledge down to your own kids. Like they're going to benefit from that. And then, they're going to be able to make an informed decision, at least later on in life, whether or not they want to, utilize that knowledge or not. But it's one of those things like, like everybody benefits, and you're probably like, you're arguably happier. Yeah. A lot. Like way happier now. And so like happy dad at home, like everybody, it brings a positive, like, I don't know, mood to your like home environment too. So yeah.
Cutest thing in the world is that my 3-year-old daughter, she just turned 3 last week. Her favorite thing is to do exercises with daddy when I'm doing my little like day, like my midday, try to get my heart rate back up circuit. So I'll like be doing some, body weight squats and burpees and things. And she comes out and she does them with me. And like just that little 3-year-old booty trying to do burpees and like hopping around. It's my favorite thing in the whole wide world. Like my kids are my life. The moment they bought into this too, I was like, okay, yep, this is who daddy is now.
Oh, cool. I love it. I'm ready for my kid to get a little bit older so that way he can kind of get more into it. Like he'll do some stuff with me. Like he'll like mess around and like flex with me, and like I hold like a tiny dumbbell for him to like mess around with too, and just like then he's learning that. It's just cool to see that it's like whether we like it or not, we're their role models, and they're gonna pick up our good and bad habits. And we may as well try and like make sure that they're picking up as many good habits as possible. So yeah, dude, I love that. Cool. So outside of, well, I guess we kind of just talked about this outside of fitness, like how has this kind of impacted your life? But like in your day to day at home, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, I think some of the biggest changes, well, like, and I guess we haven't even really talked about like, the changes that this has had on my mental health. Mm-hmm. And for people who struggle with mental health, they might be able to empathize or associate with the idea that food has been my crutch for decades. Mm-hmm. Like when I hurt, whatever, I've given up other vices before in life, and food is the one that just sticks. Mm-hmm. And because I've been sort of retraining my body, my mind, the way I view food, that crutch has gone away, which is oddly enough enabled me to start doing some really, really positive and like life-changing work with my therapist, because I'm not eating my feelings away, which means I got to face them, I got to process them. And sometimes that just means a little more grunting and yelling and screaming during, bench press and plank day and whatever, because you got to get that anger out. And sometimes it's meant like actually having real heart-to-heart conversations with my wife, because at the end of the day, I haven't buried those feelings under 4,000 calories of cookies. I have those feelings ready to go. We have real conversations, and like it's it's one of those things where we forget how much our health and nutrition, our fitness and nutrition, like feeds into all the other parts of our life, our emotional parts, our mental parts. So
it really does. Yeah. No, dude, I love that. And like, it almost gets to a point if we're not paying attention to those things that we just kind of go through the motions. Yeah. So, and you just go through the motions so much that you're not as present, I guess, like in terms like, and I struggle with this sometimes too, personally, just like with work, and finding that time to be intentional, because, being intentional is super key to, you can just, have a conversation and not be really paying attention to it or whatever it may be, and just kind of go through the motions. And if you're really, focusing on being mindful with your fitness and your nutrition, and yourself, like with your mindset, like that's going to allow you and help you be intentional and mindful with your relationships, with your, even in work or like whatever it may be. Like it helps you, like it's applicable to more than just lifting weights and protein is what I, and so I love that. So cool. So for anyone that's listening to this, like thinking about starting their own like fitness journey, like what would you say to them? Because 2021 is coming, whether we like it or not. It is super close. It's only like 1 to 2 days away, and a lot of people are going to be starting. So what would you say to them if they're thinking about it?
I would say do it, and I would say don't do it alone. When we, have a health problem, or when my car starts making noises, I'm not a trained mechanic. I have proven over the course of my life that I don't know shit about cars. Take my car to someone who knows what they're doing. That is what a fitness coach is. I don't know how to be fit. I'm learning. I am a fit dad in progress, but I am not a fit dad today. And so my fitness journey needed a life mechanic. I needed a body mechanic. I needed a nutrition mechanic. And that's what Austin is for me. If you want to make change, and if you're willing to put in the time, and if you're willing to put in the effort, because it doesn't magically come, my entire life has changed. I woke up one day going from barely eating any meat to eating like 17 pounds of turkey per week. That might be an inspiration. But if you're willing to put in the time, willing to put in the effort, willing to listen to a coach, that's the thing, at least for me, that made the difference. It made the difference from consistent failure after failure after failure to me now looking and talking to my wife about the fact that it's not if I manage to lose weight this time, it's, hey, once I've lost this weight, here's the strength plans I have. Here's the hikes I want to go on. Here, like, it is just a when now. Like, the weight's going to come off, the strength's going to happen. There's no more if. So
for sure.
If you don't make excuses. I understand that coaches are expensive, but you know what? So is your Burger King habit. So is your drinking habit. So is all of this other stuff that is hurting your life. So you might as well make a habit out of something that's going to help.
Dude, I love it for sure. And it's one of those things too, you know, in the future, like, you know, this is longevity. This is, you know, not having to, you know, use that for, you know, surgery in the future or medication or, you know, doctor visit after doctor visit kind of thing. And it's like people don't think about the long game a lot just because we're so kind of instant gratification. Also just so like, there's a lot of shit going on in our lives, you know, very short term, like things coming in and out, like always. And it's just like, you know, taking a step back and thinking about, you know, long term, like that's a big thing that like a lot of people kind of overlook or, you know, kind of put on the back burner, like, like that's a really long ways away. I don't have to worry about that. But we do. Like what we do now is going to impact our future selves. And so, yeah, no, I really like that. And and you have the belief now too. That's one of the biggest things that I've noticed is just like, you're like, I know I can do this. Like we've been talking, you know, once this stint of coaching ends, even about, you know, what's next, you know.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm already playing, like, we have plenty of time left on my current like coaching contract. And I'm already like, no, you don't get rid of me. Like I'm stuck. I'm a parasite that's latched on now. But you really like, you know, that long-term thing too, like, you know, for people out there who want to see like, hey, I need to lose 20 pounds and I want to do it in a week. Like, no, if there's a program out there that sounds too good to be true, no. Like, it is too good to be true. It's not going to happen. You're not going to see the results you want. And that was a big change for me. Like, starting to work with you, with having you tell me 1 to 2 pounds per week, that was hard to hear. I need to, like, solidly, like, with the amount of fat I have on my body, I need to lose probably 60 pounds of fat total before I'm even in, like, a good, solid, healthy range. Mm-hmm. That's a year. That could be a year. And I'm like, that seems so long. And then I stop and I look and I'm like, well, shoot, man, like, COVID started a year ago. That's nothing. A year flies by. So, like, don't fall for false promises. Like,
absolutely. Yeah. And have realistic expectations going into because we're going for, you know, a lifestyle change. We're going for a long-term thing. We're not trying to, like, because most of the people that lose those 10 pounds in 10 days, one, it's not fat. It's mostly probably water. And, you know, it's mostly that. And two, the other thing too is, like, you know, they gain most of that back and then some because
I've done that so many times. Like, just crash diet, lose 10 pounds, and then turn around and a month later I gained 15 back. Yeah.
And go make it a lifestyle out of it. Just it takes the timestamp off of it almost. It takes the almost like, you know, like you're not going to care if it took you a year or if it took you a year and 2 days. Like, you know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. It's like, So
I'm not going to care if it takes me a year or 4 months versus a year. Who cares? Like, because once I get there, it's done. It's over. I get the rest of my life. And by being a healthy, fit person, you just took my life expectancy from whatever, you know, 65 and I have a heart attack from high cholesterol to, 80, 90, whatever, because I'm a fit human being now. And
yeah,
like I've said it to you before, but I get you face to face today. So I'm going to say it again, like, thank you. I know this is your job, but you care more than you probably should. And you have genuinely changed me as a person. So yeah, I can't do enough.
Thank you. I love that. And that's like, that's what I'm here for. Like, I want to make an impact, and I want to change people's lives. And like you've definitely changed my life, man. And like, I just want to say, like, now that we're talking face to face, that it has been a true fucking pleasure to get to work with you. And I cannot wait to see like what we can accomplish going forward. And also, like, once all this COVID shit's done and over with, like, we're gonna have to get a workout in, because we're in the same area, so we're gonna have to get a workout in.
Well, so my goal next year is to talk you into like hosting like a Zoom Zumba day. Like, I want to see you get done up in like a 1980s like neon orange workout get up and just like jazzercise for the whole group.
I was about to say some jazzercise. Yeah. Nah, for sure. Cool. All right. Yeah, so I think that's all I really had for today. Cool. I want to respect your time, and we can kind of end this here. Do you have anything else that you want to say before we get off here?
Yeah, that 2020 sucked. Who cares? It's over. It's done with. Stop making excuses.
Yeah. Absolutely. 2021's here. Let's freaking go, man. So, all right, everybody, that's our live for today. And yeah, appreciate you coming on here, Charles. This was an awesome one, and I'll talk to everybody later. Bye, everybody.
See ya.